Welcome. My name is Lee Jen Bartlett, and I'd like to share with you my story, which is titled, A Sky Full of Stars. Make a wish so big that you don't think you can achieve it. Then stand back and watch it begin to happen, and your heart will soon believe it. Quote from Little Girl Speak. I want you to imagine the energy required to conceal a deep-seated and shame-filled belief that you truly have no right to the oxygen we all breathe every day. Sit with this thought for a minute. When a baby is born, the very first thing they seek out is their mummy, her smell, her voice, her taste, to feel for her energy, her vibration. Having your mama bear in your sights, locking eyes, drinking her in, and confirming in yourself that all is well in your world. When these psychologically vital needs are not met, I will argue that there is irreparable damage. Damage I've had to learn to live with in the best ways I can. It took me 29 years of my own experience with pregnancy and birth and meeting my own newborn baby to crack me open. At this point, just a little bit. My protective walls were so metaphorically thick, they were impenetrable, or so I had thought. The person we fool the most is ourselves, blinding ourselves for protection from the hard stuff, because it really is almost too hard to bear. Over time, this rock-solid fortress of the heart became, for me personally, my man-made straitjacket. To adapt and shut down, detach, out of dire necessity, to just get through, to survive. I feel at an emotionally painful level the debilitating wound that darkens the day. A deeply rutted shame that runs right through to your core. I felt so deeply inferior, so broken. What is wrong with me? I would repeatedly ask myself. As a former ward of the state and then adoptee, I do my utmost to ward off the feeling of never going to be enough. And if I can manage that, who do you think you are presents a seemingly insurmountable challenge of how the fuck do I find the courage to be truly seen in this world? For one to do this, it requires bravery, confidence, and self-belief. Even more vital is a strong sense of identity, of which, clearly, adoptees aren't gifted on a silver platter. As a Victorian ward of the state and later an adoptee, I deeply understand the emotional turmoil, the ongoing identity crisis, and mental health dysfunction that can permeate and adversely and profoundly affect our lives. There is trauma, most often dismissed, disregarded, even challenged by various others that the trauma even occurred. I spent my entire childhood trying my absolute best to be a good girl, compliant, peacekeeper, shrinking, staying small, keeping out of the way, as quiet as a mouse. A permanent feeling that I didn't matter much, that I wasn't important. That because I was adopted, there was something fundamentally wrong with me. I felt damaged, flawed, defective, just not enough. I would like to share with you, my reader, about my arrival here on Earth which was less than ideal and possibly an anomaly. In fact, I had one sole focus during my birth, to just fucking try to breathe. 4 minutes was how long I was under resuscitation before I found within me the tenacity and the courage to take that first gasp for air. 240 seconds is an extraordinary amount of time to fight for my very survival and arrival on this earth. To survive such a long resus as a 3-pounder at just 34 weeks gestation, I truly am a living miracle. I was born without the one thing a newborn seeks immediately, their mama. That comfort and familiarity, the care, the love, and most vital, the belonging to matter. Relinquished at birth, past unfit for adoption, I became a Victorian ward of the state, Baby Roberts, ward number 90010. No given name was recorded for the first 7 weeks of my life. I was recorded within the pages of my lengthy social work file only as Baby Roberts, which continued to be so when I was handed over to the Haven Baby Orphanage run by the Salvation Army. I was nameless and mattered to no one. I was a solo traveller, yet somehow spurred on by this adversity, a gentle soul, forever hopeful, full of bravery. I have no clue who named me Lee whilst in residence at the Haven, but they did. Having no name mattered to someone. I mattered to someone, and for this I feel gratitude. So, at around 2 months old, I became Lee, my very own name, something that was the only consistently familiar, comforting thing that I had and knew. When I was around 8 months, I was a past fit for adoption, and within a few months I was adopted. Renamed, I became Jenny Louise Davis. I was the youngest member of the family of 5 kids, with both sisters and both brothers being natural children to my adoptive parents. My siblings all adored me, as did my beautiful mum, who passed away a year ago this month. My adoptive father, our father, adored Mum, and for the most part he was a very loyal and caring husband. But he had his own difficult upbringing and did not particularly have much capacity for coping with raising a kid, let alone 5 of us. My saviour as a kid and then teenager was my love and connection with animals. I grew up with a dog and 4 cats, spending hours with them. Animals are great feeders of the soul and good company too. By 13, I had saved money, all my paper round money. I needed to borrow a little more from my parents, which was fine, and I bought a pony. Paint was her name. She was a brown and white pinto, barely broken in, and in my eyes she was perfect, and I was hooked. Horses gave me so much peace and calm, just being around them. I went on to compete in dressage and showing for many years. Yes, horses brought a part of me alive. Meeting Andrew Bartlett, affectionately known as AB, was an absolutely defining, life-changing moment. No coincidence, no doubt, we were destined to make a life and family together, to be life journey partners. It's now been 35 years and AB is the yin to my yang. My 29th year was absolutely one of the most joyful turning points in my life. AB and I became parents. We created a human together. We were now a family. I became a mama bear and AB a daddy. And together, new fledgling parents, we were both delighted, glowing, and so very proud of how clever we had no idea just how much I would shift emotionally inside. The impact of going through childbirth was one of the most incredibly powerful and beautiful things I have experienced in this lifetime. Finally, deep, true, authentic, unconditional love and adoration for my very own flesh and blood. A new and mind-blowing experience that brought me to tears and my soul to its knees with gratitude. No words could express the happiness and joy that our bundle of firstborn, our gorgeous boy, gifted me with us with his arrival. My own flesh and blood. His eyes were big and black in the dark of night, staring straight at me, as if he could see through me to my soul. Aaron, my firstborn, arrived at 1:45 a.m. after an induced labour of around 9 hours and weighing in at 9 pound 3. It was surreal. Here he was staring at me, my first natural relative, and my very own flesh and blood. He had a tuft of red hair on his head and his eyes were blue, though in the darkness of night they seemed blacker. This was a powerful moment where time stood still for me and my precious little boy as we digested each other's presence. Finally, after 9 long months, we were meeting face to face, then cheek to cheek, heart to heart, and finally mouth to breast. Without a second thought, I surrendered to motherhood and gave him all of myself. By Jen, in the year 2000. Between Aaron and Tess, 4 years, we lost 2 growing babies. Our first devastating loss was at 13 weeks. Just 1 cycle later, I fell pregnant again, but our third pregnancy turned out to be a loss for us. Almost 7 months over 2 pregnancies with no little bubba at the end of it all. Miscarriages are so truly devastating and so difficult to get over. It's devastating to lose a baby no matter how many weeks gestation. It's a shock to both mind and body, and the grief is real yet often dismissed. When little Aaron was 4, our continued efforts and bravery to grow our little family paid off. A speedy 2-hour from go to woa, and the arrival of our beautiful daughter Tess Lee. Gorgeous red hair yet again. I could see that this beautiful, feisty and vocal little tot knew exactly who she was, ready and up for any action from the moment she was born. 2 years later, our third and final child, Finn Andrew, blessed us by choosing us to be his parents. Such a gentle soul, our naturally grounded child. He was my 5th pregnancy and our 3rd child, completing our wonderful family and unit. We had made it. We had it made. We had it made. Carrying my babies within my very clever, capable body and birthing them into life is one of life's experiences I was absolutely, without a doubt, made and born for. What a joy and a privilege a newborn bubba brings to a family. To us parents and siblings, to nanas and pops, to aunts and uncles, friends, They bring us to our knees with their purity of heart and innocence. Such gorgeous, tiny little bundles they are. Honestly, until you've had a baby in your care, you have absolutely no idea how completely defenseless, dependent and reliant on others they are to meet their every single need. It took 5 pregnancies and 3 children for me to have a fully blown breakdown. I was diagnosed with severe PND, postnatal depression, when my youngest, gentlest son, Finn, was born. At 35, it was to be the beginning of my first-hand experience with the psychiatric system, the helpful, the good, and the damaging, and copious, unfathomable amounts of prescription medication. From my perspective, the 80 milligram dose of Prozac I was taking and the additional meds made me feel like I was trapped inside a glass case, stripped of words to express myself, and completely isolated from the world. The overriding emotion was one of inadequacy, numbness, and the desire for my life to end. Oh, listen to that tiny, tiny little bubba cry, said a wonderful mentor of mine and our intensive inner child weekend journey guide and facilitator. I lay gently down on my mat, blanket and pillow for comfort, as we all listened to the bliss song, 100,000 Angels. It took a good 5 minutes for the penny to drop, as I had a phenomenal, life-altering moment. The tiny wee newborn sobbing softly in the room was me. That little bubba cry soon became, at first, gentle sobs, then, embracing this opportunity I'd been craving all my life, I sobbed hard, gasping for breath and giving meaning and honesty to ugly crying. I distinctly remember the feeling of release and then of the rising fear of being anything but a good girl. Good girls don't make waves or rock the boat. This, my second Inner Child Weekend workshop, was back in 2014, and in that defining, life-altering moment, I took a leap of faith and for once followed my inner wisdom. It was without hesitation that I crossed out my name Jen on my tag and replaced it with a boldly written Lee. One of the most powerful decisions of my life. I was claiming back my true name, Lee. A courageously powerful moment this was to be for me. I knew intellectually that the changing of my name, at almost a year old, was a brand new start, I guess, for both me and my new parents. Yet I realized during the inner child meditation that being called Lee, actually having a name to be called and known by, was the only familiar and consistent thing that I had. With my ever-changing environment within our social welfare system, I remember asking my wonderful mum, whom I adored, when I was a young adult, why the name change? She wasn't able to see the importance of the change and simply answered, "Oh, we just like the name Jenny Louise." So post-retreat, I returned home that Sunday night and introduced myself to hubby and kids as Lee Jen Bartlett. New birth certificate, driver's license, Medicare, health fund, the lot. I can't show enough gratitude to all those caring, respectful family and friends in my life, including the wonderful community I live in, for the way they embraced the name change. It has been 12 years since that remarkable day up in the hills, and the feeling I get when I'm called Lee never gets old. Another aha moment for me was when my beautiful-hearted daughter, Tess, intuitively said to me, "Mama, I wish you could see in yourself what we all see." Wise beyond her years, she was 14 or 15 at the time. The unconditional, deep, devoted love my gorgeous family has for me makes my heart beat just about right out of my chest. Only the other day I asked my eldest son, Aaron, "What do you see and feel when you think about me?" After some thought, he answered, "You are selfless and supportive towards people that you love or care about. A lot. Your biggest strength," he said after a little contemplation, "empathy." Spot on response. I feel what others feel. I can put myself in another's shoes in a heartbeat. When I mentor or support others, I am a mere guide and fellow traveller, assisting them to find their own unique way forward. I still have many shit days. Ask my therapist and my family. But they are much more manageable. I am beginning to feel true pride in all that I've been able to put down in terms of emotional baggage, particularly the heaviest burden. Shame. That was never mine to carry in the first place. My resilience and adaptability are strengths that have gotten me through tough times over and over again. I have much gratitude to the many who became the personal and professional support people I gathered. Honestly, they were a network of angels, all contributing something of real value, reassuring me that I did matter. Special mention for my love, AB, who patiently sat with me in the dark and showed me the light and the way when I couldn't see or feel it myself. To my dear friend Sarah, who held my hand and selflessly and lovingly sat with me in uncomfortable places, reminding me again and again that this moment was temporary, encouraging me to hang on, even if by my fingernails, that it too would pass. The last 8 years of intense therapy have been absolutely life-altering. My psychologist, Michelle, has truly facilitated me getting my life back, but a far better version. Michelle has an astounding ability to meet her clients on even any given day, no matter their state. She is there, exactly where they are, with them, powerfully reducing some of the isolation felt by her clients. I am extremely grateful our paths crossed and that I've experienced her gifts as a professional. Her gentle approachability and massive empathetic heart make therapy doable. It's hard, it's rough, but this work can pay off. I can feel deep in my core that I am adored and cherished by the one human that truly matters. Me. This piece, a sky full of stars, is dedicated to my dearest love AB, who 35 years ago stole my heart the moment we locked eyes, who gave me his own gentle, shy self completely. His unwavering ability to remain calm and grounded during many rough seas. AB gifted me with his very being the strength to go on. He has never once given up on me, even when I had given up on myself. And to our 3 sensational adult kids, Aaron, Tess, and Finn, who all, from the moment we met, have loved and accepted me just as I am, in every moment. They show me daily what feeling comfortable in one's own skin looks like, and are for me my greatest achievement. Thank you.